It's my pleasure and my honor to be standing here with the Heiltsuk chiefs and all the chiefs of the coast on the anniversary of the Exxon Valdez, one of the most devastating environmental disasters that ever visited our coast. 1 million gallons of oil that destroyed a coast in Alaska equivalent to almost the whole coast of British Columbia. And that happened 23 years ago. For the past dozen or so years, I've had the privilege of working with the Wiiqunut, the Nuxalk, the Heiltsuk, the Kitasukhehes, the Gitga'at, the Haisla, Metlakatla, Masset, Skidegate, and the Council of the Haida Nation. This alliance represents 20,000 souls who live and work and breathe in the Great Bear Rainforest. We have investigated the benefits and the impacts of allowing tankers to ply our waters, and we have found that no good can come of the Enbridge tankers. Let me share some of the findings that we had over the last number of years. 25 years ago, the Kitimat Valley Pipeline was first proposed to bring oil into Canada because at that time we had a deficit. Isn't it odd that now that we supposedly have a surplus, and we don't, in fact, the east coast of Canada imports 780,000 barrels of oil a day. And Enbridge is proposing to kick 500,000 barrels out of the coast of British Columbia, while our fellow Canadians pay the top prices in the world for oil. I don't think this is national security. I think this is a travesty. When the Exxon Valdez sank and spilled oil on the coast, 7% of that oil was cleaned up. 7%. Almost $1 billion in compensation was won by the courts, in the courts for the people in Alaska. To this day, not 1 cent has ever been paid by big oil to those people in Alaska. They have fought them in the courts every step of the way. Oil does not compensate people, it just fights them.
He doesn't care.
Ladies and gentlemen, I and my colleagues and the chief of the Heiltsuk have traveled throughout this land to investigate the impacts of oil from China to the Gulf of Mexico. And what we found in those travels is the people in those areas told us to look out for big oil. They said oil has a culture that will swallow yours up. And we said, no way, they can't swallow up the culture of the coastal people. We've been here for over 10,000 years and we will remain here. But let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, those words that we heard from Alaska to the Gulf and from China are starting to ring somewhat true. In Canada, we have been attacked by oil in the guise of the federal government. They have lied to us. They have cheated us. They have tried to bribe us. They have lied about the national security, all in the name of getting a higher price for oil. And ladies and gentlemen, we've got something even more critical in front of us today. This federal government and big oil are trampling on the democracy of Canadians as we stand here today. We cannot allow this to happen. We cannot allow oil to take over our federal government. Is it any coincidence that all the robocalls that got this government elected came out of Alberta? I don't think so. Our well-being as First Nations is dependent on our lands and our waters. We are inseparable from it, and we cannot fail. We will not fail. Democracy is alive and well in British Columbia, and with your help, ladies and gentlemen, and the rest of British Columbians, we will stop this black plague from saturating our province. Thank you very much.